Monday evening. It's cleared up a little bit. Let's see. Social justice is really my thing. That's what I do. And there's been a lot going on, as you know, with Black Lives Matter kind of presently involved in a little work tattoo. I was commissioned to do a piece involving Black Lives Matter, and then when the young man last week, Christopher Mercer, kind of went off and did a mass killing in Oregon and was using the hashtag Black Lives Matter in some of his manifesto. It kind of put the paper on alert, put the magazine on alert that I write for. And they kind of don't want to use Black Lives Matter. And to me, this is a perfect example of why Black Lives Matter and why something as tragic as a mass shooting can draw attention to community policing and what happens and how it kind of pushes people to the edge. But not only was he identifying with Black Lives Matter, he also identifies as mixed race, which complicated the situation, and he identifies as a white supremacist who hates black people. So as quickly as the media picked up the ball to run with his story, they dropped it because it just became just too much for them to deal with. I still want to deal with that mental health piece, but from the perspective of a queer black womanist. And as I think about Black Lives Matter, I went to two of my resources, which are Jill Nelson, who is a wonderful writer who really tackles social ills and social issues that have remained in the forefront as long as I've been reading her, which is about 20 years. The other is Pearl Cleage, and I'm going to start with Jill Nelson, just a piece of what she has to say, and what she had to say in 1997. I want to write about black women because I know that I am neither a fictionalized archetype nor a nonfiction representative of a pathology, trend, or a larger problem. I've also learned that if I don't speak up for myself and other black women, by my silence, I acquiesce to the definition of others. And there are plenty of them. Sometimes it seems as if everyone wants a piece of me to use for their own, usually negative purposes. White male politicians demonize me as a welfare chief, illegitimate baby-making machine, and drain on government programs. White feminist women ignore me, cut deals for themselves, and then invite me to the meeting, panel, or forum as an afterthought, when it suddenly occurs to them that they need a visible and preferably silent black woman on stage to give their site-interested agenda the image of inclusion. Black men single me out when they need either help or an example of why they are endangered or hindered. I'm asked to cook the food, stuff the envelopes, open my legs, and keep my mouth shut. I am blamed for black men's ineffectiveness. But truth is, horrible as these ways in which black women are distorted and exploited by others, are most of the time people like me are simply invisible. No one notices or thinks to write about our needs, our lives, the events that make us who we are, and who we might in our dreams aspire to become. We simply do not matter, except in the ways we relate to and reflect those who are not like us, black and female. Most of the time, that relationship is a negative one. We are the poor black woman who, depending on whose use she's being put to, needs too much help, deserves some help, or isn't helpful enough. And this next piece is taken from Pearl Cleage, deals with the devil and other reasons to writing. Pearl Cleage is close to my heart as a professor at Spelman College in Atlanta. She's from my hometown of Detroit, Michigan, and so I just kind of like feel like she's just like speaking to me with a lot of her pieces, and certainly with this one here, this short excerpt from the chapter titled Out Here on Our Own. It's a dangerous time to be a black woman in America. It's a time when we are not safe in the streets, or at home, or at school, or at work, and nobody seems to be able to do anything about it. Nobody. Not us, not our mamas, not the police, not the people we elected to look out for our interests. Nobody. We're just out here. We're just out here watching our children get shot in their sleep, or raped in their living rooms, or stomped in the hallways of their high schools. We're out here, helpless and unprotected, while a generation of angry, dispossessed black men for whom the future holds no possibilities, or even minimum wage jobs, turn on us with breathtaking viciousness and no sense of anything besides the necessity to get paid. We're just out here reflecting more and more the madness all around us, abandoning our crack-addicted babies in the crowded hallways of charity hospitals, or selling our preteen daughters to the crack man in exchange for a few more rocks, catching AIDS at a faster rate than any other segment of the population, from men who forget to tell us they're bisexual or dope fiends or just careless. We're just out here being tortured and tormented and murdered by the men who said they loved us and fathered our children and married us or moved in with us and then decided somewhere along the way that they would break our jaws or crack our ribs or knock our teeth out for whatever reason seemed to them acceptable at the time. And when we call for help, the police don't want to come out because everybody knows how dangerous that kind of call can be. And even when they do come and take him away, he probably won't be in jail long enough to do anything but get even madder, so he can come back here and kick in the door and we can start all over again. So both of those excerpts I just really have always resonated with me from the first time that I read them. I said these are two black women in different areas of the country, both working in academia, but in separate places, and yet these issues remain the same. And this deadline for me is tomorrow, so I make a choice. Either I write under this Lives Matter and go real hard on on the content on why Black Lives Matter to me as a black queer womanist, or I shut up about it. And I don't think I'm going to shut up about it. So I think I'm going to go hard. So thank you for bearing with me tonight. Two areas that really resonate with me are intersectionality and invisibility as a black woman. What is interesting to me with the All Lives Matter and the Lives Matter is that black people will argue that it is not inclusive of black people and that it kind of erases us, yet many of those same black people will not bother to acknowledge that the hashtag Black Lives Matter was indeed started by two black lesbians. So again, all these intersections for me mean something, and so I make a lot of noise about them. So it says, intersections matter. Intersections are everything to me. As a queer black womanist, it has become crystal clear that I can't allow myself to be placed into just one framework. I'm versatile, and at the end of the day, I strive to be about love and connecting my various pulses. I strive to be about survival. If we all concentrate on putting our energy into connecting for good, we can turn some things around. The fuckery of the world doesn't have to win. The human condition calls for a deeper knowledge of self and agape love. Intersections have me maneuvering on societal issues. I recently started a t-shirt campaign called You Have the Right Not to Remain Silent, about whatever the ism or the issue is that has gotten under your skin. You have a right not to be silent about it, to indeed make some noise. And for me, those things include police brutality, There's zero tolerance, particularly in school, domestic violence, the legal system, racism, sexism, classism, homophobia, ageism, patriarchy, childhood sexual abuse and assault, the school-to-prison pipeline, stigma behind mental health, abject poverty, black-on-black crime, and as of late, marijuana reform. And that last one is very important to me as we talk about Black Lives Matter. There are tens of thousands of black and brown people doing time for nickel bags and dime bags of marijuana that other people are making millions on and living great. And when I say millions, I mean millions, and particularly in California, where some people are on their second and third generation of growers, as you know, 3 generations of growing. This money is used to put people through school, put down payments on houses, secure legacies. And the flip side is that black folk and brown folk are not warranted that. So when it comes down to having a voice and using it to fight against injustice of any of the aforementioned isms, I think we all have some work to do. And I just ask you to think about that. Whatever side of matters you're on, if it's Black Lives Matters and you're standing for Black lives because you understand that systematic racism does a number. And in communities where police are able to come in and do profiling, take away a father, take away a mother, shoot a mother that's holding a baby in her arms and have no accountability, there is a problem. So instead of just spouting off what the problems are, I also like to have some solutions, and I offer up the 7 principles of Kwanzaa for anybody that kind of wants to make a difference. We're talking about unity in the community. We're talking about self-determination and cooperative economics and creativity and having the faith and understanding that if we turn things over in our own community, support each other, support small businesses, support venues like this that allow people to have a voice, that things can get better. And I think that is one way. Another thing would be mental health and dealing with mental health and well-being and kind of removing and reducing the stigma associated with it. Mental health is a touchy subject for a lot of people, and that is unfortunate because we have to acknowledge when things are off within ourselves in order to get the healing and begin to do the self-work towards healing. And it can be heavy, but it's also very necessary. And I say, really, walk and talk the talk. I was about if I didn't have the opportunity to write out when things are like not going well. Be able to put it on paper and come back to it later probably has kept me alive and maybe some other people too. Really, just being able to have a creative outlet makes a lot of difference. This is October. It is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I'm involved with the movement as a survivor, and because I know firsthand what abuse and battery did to a woman's spirit. I know secondhand what it does to gay males going through unnecessary rites of passage where people are battling to determine who's going to be a top and who's going to be the bottom in the relationship. And so this, this duel it out type of thing is domestic violence, whether it's looked at by the participants is not. And I also know from beautiful sisters locked in abusive homes where they take blows, physical blows, and verbal blows, and yet remain unsure as to whether leaving is the best option. I want to help her because somebody helped me. I stand before you only by the grace of God. 'Cause I married somebody I had known for a full month. I was out of my mind. I stuck my toe out the closet, and I got scared and ran back in and said, I'm gonna marry the first person I can, and I did, and he was hell on wheels. So there had to be some mental illness in there too, because you don't marry somebody I did not know. He ended up having 7 different aliases, 2 social security numbers. I am lucky to be standing here and not cut up in little bitty pieces in your favorite dish. Really, it was just that type of craziness. So, yeah. I've learned to take time for myself and to understand that reflection is good. And without my sisterhood, I just probably would not be here. Another thing that has kept me. And I just want to end with a poem. And this is titled Images. When it was first written 15 years ago, it was titled Affirmative Action, Women's Rights and Images. And it's just been shortened to Images. Now my daughters are grown. Yeah, I'm a grandmother, so things have kind of changed. So it's called Images. As I sit and wonder and ponder, I close my eyes and try and imagine what this world will be like for my daughters, 29 and 27, and 215 and beyond. It's the 21st century, and I wonder about the plight of not only my 2, born of my flesh and blood, but as to the plight of girl children worldwide. My sisters, cousins, and nieces of all shades, ethnicities, and races. Hard to imagine the future without remembering the past, those strong, proud women who've come before me, the mothers, aunts, and grandmothers who struggled, taught, and fought for equality and the right to survive. Against tremendous odds and all the fucking isms known globally, the sexisms, the you are too old, too young, too black, too brown, too red, too yellow, too white, too skinny, too fat, too meek, too loud, too bashful, too outspoken, too much damn woman. The racism, the oppression that makes financial equality, same degrees intact, as evasive as the glass ceiling is reality that many will tell you does not even exist. Do you want to keep your job or not? Play the game. He didn't mean it that way. You're just too emotional. The oppression, the abuse, which can hit in so many ways, all negative. The physical, the verbal, the emotional, which slithers like a snake to snatch your spirit and silence your creativity, your God-given right to thrive and be. FGM, female genital mutilation, castration, the painful cutting away, the removal of one's clitoris or whole womb, depending on how savage the fucking mutilator feels on a given day. The castration that takes away all that we are to the very core. Oh, no more, no more. The socialization that automatically places girl children in pink dresses with Barbie as playthings. Barbie, that model of all that is woman in the minds of many. Anorexic, pale, and brainless. The pink and lace given early can lead to disgrace, loss of self-esteem, hopes, and dreams. Barbie, pink dresses and lace, fairy tale dreams of love and shit, real and imagined. Not that I hold anything personal against love and softness, for these are good things, born of woman, kind and nature things. However, in a cruel, hateful, and hurtful dog-eat-dog, male-run world, we better be able to mix and blend the soft with the hard, become chameleons. Will the 21st century be kind to women? Hard to tell with all the subtle and often overt hostility that surrounds us. Peace of mind, mind over matter, self-love, self-determination, knowing who you are, knowing that you're beautiful, that your womb brings forth life. Make sure that you're given the opportunity. Unite and take it if you have to be all that you can be as a child of the Creator. I'm not a man-hater. This is just my prayer for the future, for my girls and girl children worldwide. Survival is key, and the struggle